Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Bruce with habowskistudio. Thank you for joining me today. And today's video is going to be doing a night painting, a urban night painting using cold wax medium. Now the idea behind using the cold wax medium in the first place for me was I wanted to do more night paintings, but one of the things that was pretty annoying was the glare of the paint. Was very distracting to me, and knowing that the cold wax medium will impart a matte finish to the paint film, my goal is hoping that when the painting is complete, you'll be able to see the painting, won't be distracted by any glare or anything like that, and then it should maintain some clarity to the image. So that's the plan, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, before we get started, if you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by and taking a look at what I'm doing. I invite you to subscribe to see more in the future. Be sure to hit the bell notification icon. Turn that on to get notified as to when I post new videos. And for everybody, you can visit my Facebook habowskistudio art page, my business page. Hit the like button there. And I'm now on Instagram at habowskistudio. I post works in progress and other sort of cool things that you won't see on my channel. So let's get started with the painting. Okay, for today's video, we're just going to be doing a little 6x6 panel, oil-on panel. And I have my tablet sitting here with the reference photo. And I'll show you what I did with the panel and to prep it to get to this stage to start painting. Okay, what I did, since I'm working on a Nocturne, the first thing I wanted to do was tone my panel a darkish color. I didn't want to go something like too dark, like an umber, you know, too dull. I wanted to have a little life to it, so I just did it with a little Ultramarine Blue and Cadmium Orange. And then while that was wet, you can see in my adjacent photo, you can't see the details too much, but you can see where the light from the storefront's coming out. So I just kind of wiped out general area, lightening that back up so when I apply my highlights I don't have to fight with that dark tone. You don't have to be super exact with this. You could if you wanted to, but I didn't worry about that. Also, what I'm experimenting with is I want to get the perspective fairly dead on. So I knew the angle, the two main angles of the converging line, and you can see as I blew this line off the panel and then blew this line off the panel, that intersecting point is the vanishing point. So that's going to be the horizon line that the viewer's looking at, and so any like windows receding, anything like that will be angled towards that vanishing point. And this is just a piece of newsprint I put back here to try out this idea. I've never ever done this before, and I thought this is actually a pretty good idea. And the panel is held on there just with some double-sided tape and just put in place so I can draw my lines. This line just represents the bottom of the panel to have the all the lines be squared to the panel. And now we'll go over the palette I'm going to use for this piece. It's going to be a limited palette. Not super concerned. There's number one and not a lot of strong color in the reference photo, so I'll go over the palette with you. So the palette we'll be using today is Burnt Sienna, Titanium White, Ultramarine Blue, Cad Orange, Cad Yellow Pale, and Alizarin Crimson, and Dorland's Cold Wax Medium. Hey everybody, how's it going today? I think you're really going to enjoy this video. It turned out pretty nice. Before we get started, I just want to let everyone know I'm thinking of doing a Q&A video. So if you have any questions concerning my interest in art, how that came about, or anything, any kind of personal questions like that, my inspiration for painting and things related to that, if I get enough responses for questions, I'll put together a video and answer those questions. So please, I invite you to participate in that and learn a little more about why I paint what I paint. So now let's get on with what we're doing here. As you can see in the beginning of the video, trying some new ideas, methods for painting these nocturnes, and one of them with the one of my concerns with doing urban paintings is I paint fairly realistically, so I really have to be careful to pretty much nail the composition, and I'm not looking for a super duper architectural rendering, but the technique I used in the beginning there really facilitated helping out placing that vanishing point, and I think it came in pretty handy, and I could see that helping in the future. Something else I've experimented with lately is, years ago I bought I think it's called Artograph enlarger type device. You basically do a little sketch. It has a 5x5 viewing area, and you can take that sketch and enlarge it basically onto your painting support to trace over your lines. Now this isn't like tracing a photo. For me, it's like the idea, concept anyway. This is actually the other day, the first time I used it in years. I just thought it was a good idea, and I'm doing a 12x16 painting that I've sketched out on a small scale to get the perspective, because if you think about it, the technique I showed you in the beginning of the video showing the newsprint behind the panel and all that, if I was doing a larger painting, that'd be quite a large area that I would need to facilitate those perspective lines. So by working on a small scale, I can essentially scale it up, but without having to recreate the grid on my canvas. The drawing would be proportionate to the painting size I'm going to be doing. So it actually worked out pretty well. It was a little tricky, getting used to, you don't want to move anything left or right, and I wasn't looking to copy every single line. You can put in plot points, corners of windows and things like that, and just transfer over the main perspective lines, and then when you're done, flesh everything out with a ruler and a pencil, because your lines are not going to be super straight. It's kind of hard to use a ruler while you're doing that. I just was lightly sketching over lines. So anyway, just some ideas. And one thing that I was really excited about with this painting, and there's a couple other videos of some night paintings coming along, is this cold wax I think is really going to do the trick with giving the look I want to my night paintings, along with finishing it off with a satin varnish, Winsor & Newton. So I'm really excited to pursue this that I've been wanting to do for years, and how I go about that on site, I can explain a little bit of that. Now my eventual goal is to get out there on site too and do some plein air work of urban scenes like this. I think there's enough ambient light in a city to facilitate that with a headlamp. But for now, these beginning paintings, what I've done is I have my digital camera, and I experimented with really setting the ISO high and timer and trying to capture it quickly that way, handheld. And some scenes worked out okay, but I remember from back in the days when I had a Sony Mavica, one of my first digital cameras. You insert a floppy disk, and it was dinosaur. And I realized, oh yeah, I have a live mode on my digital camera that I can use. So I've experimented with it before, and what it is you have to autofocus, and you can zoom in on a part of the scene and make sure it's in focus, and then you have a shutter release, a cable that plugs into your digital camera, and you can do your exposure that way. You can hold it for a long exposure, so if you're trying to get different parts, like the interior of a lit restaurant or something that's really bright, you can capture detail in that, and then shoot a frame for the outside lights and darks, so that you don't wash one or the other out. And that's worked pretty good. So I'm going to experiment some more with that to get some reference material, and hopefully, there's actually a John's Market up on the corner where I live that I want to paint. It's like a little mom and pop store that's going to be pretty cool painting too. Now, one thing I got to mention with this painting, and I believe I mentioned it before in some other video, but I recently kind of been experimenting with some Tuscan series by Utrecht, some paintbrushes. synthetic flats, and I just love them. They are so nice. And here in this piece, that particular one, I go back and forth, but that particular one you see me using now is a Robert Simmons Sapphire that I've mentioned before. But the Tuscan series is also really nice for really getting some chiseled, nice strokes of straight lines, and chunk out your painting. Very facilitates painting urban scenes very nicely. And what's tricky with painting these, what I was concerned about was the palette I picked. I felt it was pretty fair colors to use to retain some color in the night scene rather than making just dark grays or something like that. I was trying to retain some brilliance in the shadows, and I think I achieved that in the end result. It's still a learning curve for me. I'm not perfect at it, but trying to think through things before I pick a palette. And you have the Ultramarine Blue, which is transparent, and the Alizarin Crimson transparent, and the Cad Yellow. So it's not like I'm using all opaque colors that would kind of dull down too much. So and the key too when you're painting these scenes, especially when you're laying on your brilliant lights, is all shade. As you can see, the preliminary shading of some light on the wall inside the store there. But then I'll come in later with some more brilliant paint and overlay that again, just 1 or 2 strokes, and go back to the palette to pick up more paint. Don't go blending too much. Depends on the area, of course, you're working on, but when you're trying to capture the effect of light and strong light, it helps to just be confident that you got the right value. And if you put the stroke down and don't get the right value and tone or whatever, don't keep fiddling with it. Go down, mix up, make a decision what's wrong with the color, too light, too dark, too grade down, not saturate enough, and make a correction and put another stroke. And 1 or 2 strokes, you should be able to get it. If you don't, I suggest you try to scrape off that area a little bit with a palette knife and start the process again. Otherwise, you're going to have too much paint going on and too many color choices you're trying to decide. So something to think about. I hope you're not minding me doing these voiceovers on these studio pieces. I find it's actually more conducive to help you guys out there when I'm playing back, editing the video, and watching myself paint. I have a more fluid conversational style because I think it's, when you're there painting and trying to talk at the same time, you're trying to coordinate your sections of video and trying to figure out what kind of things you want to put in the video. And some videos, obviously, I will talk a little bit, but I think this is more useful for you guys. And as you see, of course, I have the inset picture this time. I've done that before in the past, and I think it's kind of handy to show. I mean, you may not see great detail from your end, but it gives you an idea of what I'm selecting to put in the painting to highlight the effect of the lighting. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can finesse it as much as you want, but of course this is a 6x6 panel, so not looking to crowd it with too much information. So here I am, make a decision, couple strokes, and then even though the brush is a little dirty, I still put in those couple strokes, and that gives like the fuzz around the light, so you don't get a super hard edge to the bright saturated color. Something to try. So it's really shaping up, and pay attention to, you can see the light on the pavement right in front of the door, and then the upright parts of the storefront. Those whitish grayish tones in that upright part is the reflective pavement, because the front of that building is, I wouldn't say granite, but it's like a shiny marble type of, it's material that's reflective. So be observant, and feel free to downplay it. You can see in the original photo it looks a little strong. Of course, I did edit the photo a little bit and make it a tad lighter so you could see some detail. But yeah, and when I'm painting little areas that you see me working on now, try to pay attention to those perspective lines, your main perspective lines it can be easy to lose them if you're not careful. Alright, now I'm just going to let you watch me paint for a little bit, and I'll play a little music, a little bit of jazz today because it's kind of rainy here in Maine, so it seems appropriate. And then I'll get back to discussing the painting and to let you know about an upcoming event I'll be teaching. So stay tuned. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. That was pretty cool. Every now and then I like to listen to some jazz in the studio, so hope you enjoyed it. Okay, the news that I want to talk about is I'm going to be teaching a plein air workshop, a 2-day workshop at a place called Valley Arts in Waitsfield, Vermont. And that's going to be coming up September 14th and 15th of this year. So be sure if you want to go to their website and check out the listing, see the costs and all that good stuff. And if you live in the area, I'd be happy to see you. That'd be good. If you have any questions, you can call Gary Eckhart, E-C-K-H-A-R-T, 802-583-2224. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about doing that. He watches my YouTube videos and contacted me, so it's pretty cool that I'm kind of got this platform to reach out to people. So if you happen to be a place that has an organization, leave a comment if you want me to do a workshop at your place if you're nearby in Maine. Also, I want to let everyone know something else. When I'm painting in the studio, I do listen to podcasts quite a bit. And this one podcast is put out by Xanadu Gallery, Xanadu Gallery. YouTube will correct if I spelled it wrong. But just punch that in and you can see, search their videos. They do a lot of art marketing type of conversations, and it's very informative, like how to find art collectors, how to promote your art with Facebook, all kinds of things like that. So I'm not getting any plug from them for this. I'm just saying I really enjoy listening to that information when I'm painting, because you never know where you're going to learn something. So check it out. And some other podcasts that are interesting are Artful Painter, A-R-T-F-U-L Painter. It's another good podcast. And Andrew Tischler has started some podcast interviews with people, and he's only got a couple on there right now, but they were pretty darn good. So yeah, enjoy that. I just want to also mention here, like when you saw me painting that highlighted pavement there in front of the store, when I created the line from the shadow side to the light side, you want to be careful. Like I blended a little bit, but mostly I would go back to my paint on my palette and mix up another half tone to split the difference again. You don't want to overblend. Just create a new color to create that shift from the light to the shadow, especially depending on the effect of the light. Some light is not going to be strong to cast a very distinct shadow, so something to be aware of. We're going to be coming up to the end of the video in just a moment here. So I hope you really enjoyed this particular video. I'm going to have a couple more coming out soon of a couple more night scenes, and show you those, how I captured some other scenes. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the just drop me a comment and let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. I'm pretty good, obviously, about getting back to everybody. It's important, and I really appreciate everybody watching my videos. And again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit that bell notification to be alerted as to new videos. And until the next one, enjoy your day. Okay, well, this concludes this painting demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. And I'm pretty happy with it for probably been at about an hour. And until next time, see you later.